Welcome to More Than a Few Words, marketing conversation for business owners. This is your host, Lorraine Ball, and this is another one of those what went wrong conversations. We think what we want to communicate is what people are hearing, and sometimes we just don't get the message right. And joining me today with a story about a messaging situation that didn't go quite the way he was hoping is Brad Koch. Brad is a coach and he helps business owners figure out how to take control of their businesses, their time, their money. And he's built this business on experience stretching over 32 years in the Marine Corps, in business schools. He's learned a lot along the way, and he's going to share some of that with us. Brad, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is so nice to have you. So tell me a little bit about what you hoped was going to happen when you started this messaging program.
Yes. So, like many marketers, sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees. We're so close to things that we're just not seeing the way that our prospects would want to see it. So this was a marketing campaign for a printing company. At the time, I was with a printing company, and we had some new technology, and the marketing messaging got stuck on features and benefits. Really, that I'll make this up. The G3000 can print this many pages, and we spent a lot of time tying those spec benefits to great imagery and had emails and print and all these wonderful things. But when it got out in the marketplace, it was like virtual crickets in terms of interest and response. And of course, it was my program, so I was held under a microscope. Brad, why did this happen? Why did this happen? And it was not too far after that I really I had gone to a workshop, actually a story workshop, learning how to story brand. And I made the connection that I just did the inverse. I made it about me. I made it about what our thing did and made no connection to the pain or what the prospects might need or benefit from it.
As you're talking about that, I am reminded of doing marketing in an engineering world. And my engineers were always excited about things like cadmium plated screws.
Right.
And they got excited and they were geeking out on the technology and they were geeking out on what this metal was. And I could never figure out why that was important to anybody but them. And it sounds like that was the trap that you fell into.
Oh, 100%. It's easy. Again, that forest through the trees. That's why I'm a big proponent of, with things like marketing, having, even though you might have the talent inside your organization, but it's worth the cup of coffee or the retainer, whatever it is, to get feedback from the outside, because you really need that perspective. Okay, someone that doesn't know anything about these screws or doesn't know anything about this printing device, how is this making their life better? How are
Mhm.
they able to either save money or save time?
So once you had this aha moment and you went to this storytelling workshop, how did that change the next time you did a marketing campaign to promote that new service?
It changed everything, and if I think about my life as a timeline, at some point there's we all have forks. This was one of the forks, was understanding that me in this case, I'm not the hero. I'm the guide. My job is to guide our customers to the promised land, whatever that is for you in your industry. And once I understood that thinking shift, uh, great things happened. I mean, just it seemed like every conversation, any marketing piece, Every proposal was always through the view of we're not selling, we're guiding. We're really guiding people to an endpoint. And to this day, it's still foundational in the way that I serve my clients.
Absolutely. So if you were going to if you were going to jump back in time and you were going to redo that campaign, instead of talking about the features, what would your messaging on that campaign be? Can you give me an example of how storytelling might change the direction of that campaign?
Sure. So the main challenge at that time, and the market was school publishers, was this battle between having enough books on hand uh, to fill demand, but not have so many that at the end of the year their accountants are yelling at them because they've got all this inventory carrying forward. So digital printing came on the scene, and it was universally adopted in those circumstances, just managing inventory. There was another opportunity. And so if we looked at it through the eyes of the publishers could have this continuing updating cycle. And so a pain for them, and this is, I'm getting to the point, the pain for them was they would go through this massive, expensive print cycle, and then someone would find a mistake, or an author would update something, and it would just be this arduous process to get it corrected and back out. Whereas with digital printing, it was lighter, faster. So the pain that I missed talking about was this being able to have your content current more than your competition. So the selling point for them buying into this way to produce books was, hey, XYZ publisher down the street is still going to be doing math, the old way, and you're going to have the benefit of teaching people how to do math the new way because you were just nimble, you were fast.
Yeah. So you can have the latest and the greatest, and also that messaging around thinking about in terms of cost, because that was a cost savings they could pass on to their customers who didn't have this huge extra inventory. They could, and that you could collapse order time, because under that old system, you had to do these giant print runs. That is so brilliant. And it's just a matter of kind of shifting and thinking about not why do I want to sell it, but why does the customer want to buy it?
Exactly. Where were you back in 1994? You could have shortened my I wouldn't be quite as gray.
No, back in 1994, I was trying to explain to engineers why you can't talk about cadmium plated screws on the front page of a brochure.
Well, you could if you wanted to put somebody to sleep.
Yes, and send them running to the competitors. So,
Right.
as you're working with business owners, as you're working with your clients and helping them figure this out, is there a stumbling block that you see people running into over and over, besides kind of what you talked about when it comes to getting the message right?
Yes, and I'm victim of it as well as probably you and other experienced marketers to some degree. Is that sometimes we feel like we have to say everything, and we're capable of doing all these things. And if I don't get it in that 30-second spot, I'm leaving. There's a business in Idaho somewhere that might need that thing that I just omitted, and just truthfully letting go of that fear and encouraging them to think about narrow and clear, be very, very clear. And if you're mentioning 4, 5, 6 different things, that's not clarity. That's a laundry list, and that really doesn't help.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love those tips. I love the idea of showing your marketing to other people outside of your industry to give you that feedback. about trimming the ideas down, and above all, everything else, making sure you know what's important to your customers.
Yeah,
Brad, thank you.
100%.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
My pleasure. I love what you're doing, and yeah, keep fighting the good fight.
You know, at this podcast has been a labor of love, and mostly love and not really that much labor. So I'm going to keep doing it. Um,
Outstanding.
I'm going to encourage anybody, if you are interested in learning more about Brad, his website, there'll be a link in the show notes. It's call.foresightcoach.com, and it's call period the number 4 sightcoach.com. And he even offers a 15-minute coaching session or a conversation. There'll be a link to that too. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you so much.
And if you've enjoyed this conversation and you're looking for other resources for your business, hop over to morethanafewwords.com. There you'll find hundreds of conversations just like this, workbooks, white papers, webinars, and so much more. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.